media publisher that routinely covered stories critical of the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party government, like criticism of government bonds, alleged violations of green clearances, and the Bihar caste census, was raided by the Delhi police on 3rd October.
मोदी जी महान है और पूछे ना, मोदी जी भगवान का अवतार है और पूछे ना और सवाल.
The Enforcement Directorate was investigating NewsClick for receiving foreign funding. A case was registered in August, just days after the New York Times published an investigation which said that NewsClick was financed by an American millionaire working with the Chinese government. Founder and editor Prabir Purkayast and HR head Amit Chakravarti have been arrested. Several journalists also associated with NewsClick were detained for questioning. These reporters had worked on stories about alleged violations by the Adani Group. They had spoken about how PM Narendra Modi was made the center of all government achievements and schemes, and discussed the PM's ignorance of history on their shows. 500 cops raided more than 100 locations across cities like Delhi, Noida, Gurugram, Ghaziabad, and Mumbai. NewsClick and its journalists were being charged under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, or UAPA, which was usually reserved for terrorists. Between 2014 and 2020, more than 10,000 people had been arrested under UAPA, but just over 250 of them had been convicted. In a written reply in Lok Sabha, the Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Anurag Thakur, said that the government didn't keep separate data for journalists who were charged under this act. The National Crime Records Bureau also didn't mention the number of people arrested under UAPA before 2014. The man linked to NewsClick was American millionaire Neville Roy Singham. The New York Times reported that Singham used non-profit groups to finance the Chinese government's propaganda across the world. Corporate filings uncovered by the publication showed that Singham's companies financed NewsClick, and they in turn allegedly published Chinese government propaganda. When this New York Times report was published in August 2023, it was also discussed in Lok Sabha.
वो NewsClick उस संस्था का जो है हेड कर रहा है, पुरकायस्त उसका मालिक है, उसके सारे पैसे में कहां से मिले, कैसे नक्सलाइट को दिए गए, कैसे माओवादियों को दिए गए, कैसे शर्मा को, रोहिणी सिंह को, या मान लीजिए स्वाति चतुर्वेदी जैसे लोगों को केवल भारत के खिलाफ एक माहौल बनाने के लिए चाइनीज पैसा दे रहे हैं.
10 days later, a case was registered against them. The police questioned nearly 50 people associated with NewsClick, raided the company's office and sealed it. Police seized the suspects' computers, laptops, mobile phones, and documents. The journalists were allegedly asked 25 questions, which included their foreign travels and whether or not they reported on events like the COVID pandemic, the farmers' protests, and the protests against CAA in Shaheen Bagh.
मेरा बीबी का जो भाई है अमेरिका में, उनसे फोन में बात किया कि नहीं, बोला हाँ. तो मैंने पूछा कि आप सिग्नल इस्तेमाल करते हैं, बोला हाँ. तो मैंने पूछा आप दिल्ली रायट कवर किया, बोले ना. आपने किसान आंदोलन कवर किया, बोला हाँ.
देखिए, मुझे जस्टिफाई करने की जरूरत नहीं है. अगर किसी ने गलत किया है तो उसके ऊपर जांच एजेंसियां काम करती हैं, और ये कहीं नहीं लिखा कि आपके पास अगर गलत तरीके से पैसा आया होगा, आपत्तिजनक कोई कार्य होगा, तो उसके ऊपर कोई जांच एजेंसी कार्रवाई नहीं कर सकती. जांच एजेंसियां स्वतंत्र हैं, वो अपनी कार्रवाई नियमों को देखकर करती हैं.
Opposition parties were quick to criticize this police action. The India Alliance condemned the raids. Congress leader Pawan Khera called them a distraction from the Bihar caste census. Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav said they were a sign of a losing BJP. And the Aam Aadmi Party said that the government lacked courage to engage with China directly and hence were arresting journalists. But this wasn't the first time that NewsClick was under the law enforcement scanner. In 2021, they were being investigated by the Delhi Police's Economic Offences Wing. Their offices were being searched by the Income Tax Department, and the ED was looking into them for money laundering. The Delhi High Court had stepped in at that time and barred the ED from taking coercive action against them.